All right, let me know if you can see everything. Just put a yes in the chat if you can see my screen and everything.
Yes, I can see.
Cool, cool. All right, yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Catherine, Adrian, Carrie. All right, amazing. All right, I'm very, very excited about today's training. It's titled How to Design, Price, and Launch Your First Premium Offer. And I'd love for you to just, before we get started, grab a notebook, get cozy, take lots of notes. We're going to go through a lot of things. Before we get started, how many people here already have an offer? Like, are you selling some kind of coaching or consulting service? Put a Y in the chat if you are, and an N if you're just getting started and you don't have an offer yet. Cool, cool, cool. Yes, 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 yes. Oh my gosh, everybody. Just getting started, Susan, working on finalizing my offer. Love it, love it, love. Oh, offers. Okay. Final stages. Yes, yes, yes. All right. I love it, but I am stale. Listen, my friend, you are anything but stale. I promise you. Okay, amazing. Okay. All right. So in today's training, I'm going to walk you through how to design, price, and launch your first premium offer, even if you've been stuck in planning mode for months. Because look, most of the experienced professionals I talk to, people just like you, are running into the same frustrations. You built a successful career. Listen, you know that your work gets results, but you still haven't packaged that brilliance into a premium offer that actually sells. You have built courses, taken courses, built the website, maybe even created an offer, but no one's buying. And that is not the vibe. Maybe you've even hired coaches, but without the right structure and the right framework, you're still not seeing the traction that you expected, right? How many of you can relate to that? You're spinning in content, branding, funnels, and deep down, you're still unsure how to position your expertise in a way that commands respect. And let's face it, revenue, because nobody starts a business to be broke. So if you have been feeling like you're invisible online, or you're undercharging for your real value, or you're not sure where to even begin with launching, then you're in exactly the right place. Because I want you to understand this. You don't have a content problem, you don't have a pricing problem, and you don't have a tech problem. Even if I'm bad with tech, that is really, really not the problem. The problem is your positioning. What you actually have is a positioning problem, right? And in this training, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to solve that by helping you get crystal clear on your premium offer. Literally write this down. Getting clear on your offer. Number 2 is pricing based on value. And number 3, how to launch cleanly without tech spirals. And most importantly, shifting your identity so that you can finally be seen as the expert that you are. I promise you this isn't fluff. It's not the same framework I've used. It is the same framework I've used for high-level professionals to help them go from stuck to sold out, often landing their first high-ticket client within weeks. And I'm going to talk to you about that as well. Now, before we get into the training, let me just tell you a little bit about who I am and why I do this work. I know there's some new faces on this training, and I'm so, so happy to meet you, and I'm so glad you're here. I come from a background in staffing and consulting, the kind of work where success is measured very specifically by results. Clients expect clarity, they expect strategy, they expect execution at the highest levels. And over the years, I noticed something, that there were brilliant professionals like all of you, high performers from HR, finance, healthcare, staffing, leadership, marketing, and they were trying to bring their expertise online, right? They have a brilliant career. They're like, okay, now let me do something for me. But despite their decades of experience, they're still struggling to launch, right? They're spinning in content. They're hustling on social, trying to figure out dancing on Instagram Reels. You can't even believe what I've seen. Taking course after course, but they weren't getting the traction, right? And I knew exactly why, because I seen it before. I actually was stuck in it myself when I started, right? In consulting, in corporate, where everything depended on positioning and clarity and confidence. So I started helping people with their, what I like to call their invisible brilliance, taking all that career experience and the results that they were sitting on and turning it into one clear premium offer that sells. Okay, an offer that feels aligned with who you are, so you're not like reading someone else's sales script or like, you know, all this the bro marketing. When you are a heart-centered, you actually care about making money, but you also care about helping people and doing something that is meaningful and matters, right? Offers that feel aligned, they're strategic, but most importantly, sustainable. And since then, I've worked with dozens of leaders to create their first premium offer, to help them clarify their message, and to launch simply and build businesses that feel like just like a natural extension of their legacy and not some weird, awkward online reinvention. Ugh, that doesn't even feel good to say. So if you feel like your brilliance isn't being seen or you're not getting paid at the level you know that you've earned, then I want you to know that you're not alone, right? You're not new. You're not like starting over. You're literally just invisible, meaning your presence isn't being seen online. And that's exactly what we're going to change today. Can I get a yes if you're ready for that? All right. Most people think that success comes from like most people who are trying to launch online are stuck in what I call the overcomplication model, right? They think success comes from all these things like building a bigger email list or posting every day on LinkedIn or learning another secret sales script or tinkering with their website and their funnels. Nothing wrong with having a nice website. I just launched a new one, right? But the truth is, or like even worse, they're outsourcing their business to some guru's step-by-step formula that was never designed for someone at their level of credibility and experience, right? I mean, here's the problem. When you're applying beginner strategies to an advanced level of expertise, everything feels off. Like everything feels off because you already know how to lead. You have the results, you have the receipts, you've done a lot of amazing things. And these traditional online tactics treat you like you're just starting from scratch or you're new or you're a beginner. And that mismatch is the thing that's keeping you stuck because you're a leader, right? And you know that. And all of the gurus out there they don't come from the same background as you. And I totally get it because my first business coach, who I invested tens of thousands of dollars with, like I think by the time I was finished investing with him, I was close to six figures. Okay. He was a brilliant marketer and he built $100 million coaching business. And I hired him because I wanted to build something similar, right? And I learned a lot from him, but there came a time when I was just like, I was stuck. I could not go any further in my business. And it was so incredibly frustrating because I really wanted to be at the next level. And the truth is, while he was a brilliant marketer, he started his career as a bartender. A freaking bartender, right? Like he didn't have the corporate executive experience I had. And I was dismissing my entire career, which is the exact thing that had made me successful, right? And I suspect many of you are doing the same. So that's what was missing. And that's why I created what I call the new model, right? Like it's a model that honors the depth of your experience and helps you really clarify your value, create a premium offer, and launch without tech chaos or tech overwhelm. And that's what I'm going to walk you through today. Okay, so just 4 shifts. Get ready. This is number 1. I want you to write this down. The offer framework that works. The first shift is anchored in one of the pillars that I have called clarity. One premium offer, and it's based in your lived experience, right? It's easy to sell something that's based in your lived experience because the general idea is like, the clarity of your offer determines the credibility of your brand. So most experienced professionals, they're not unclear about what they do. They're unclear about the structure. They're unclear about the name. They're unclear about the price. They don't know how to price like a high premium solution for high level clients. This is why your offer doesn't just describe your services, it positions your power. And without one clear premium offer, everything else feels a bit chaotic and a bit fragile. So here's what I see all the time. A brilliant woman or man leaves his or her corporate career. You have 2 decades or more of experience in leadership, banking, HR, sales, staffing, consulting, right? Like you're not just smart, you're experienced, you're seasoned. And the moment you try to build a business, you end up creating a laundry list of offers. A coaching package for emerging leaders. I mean, really, tell me if any of these sound familiar. A coaching package for emerging leaders, even this language, a short-term consulting option, maybe a digital product or an online course or an ebook or some other like low ticket item, maybe even a group program, but you never fully launched it. Your website's full of tabs, your content's broad, but your calendar is quiet, right? Nobody's calling, nobody's buying. You're doing all the things, but nothing is really landing. And this shows up in your daily life, right? Like this person's daily life. I'm just going to call her she, okay? She's rewriting her bio every week. Her social posts feel flat or unclear. Keeps tweaking her pricing because, I don't know, maybe it's too expensive. Tell me if this is sounding familiar. Write a Y in the chat if this is sounding familiar. Maybe it's too expensive. And her inner dialogue sounds something like this. I know I'm good at what I do, but why isn't anybody signing up? It feels like she's walking in a fog trying to gain traction with no clear direction. And you know this isn't working because it's a problem because you're not consistently signing premium clients, right? Despite her qualifications and experience, her calendar is either empty or it's filled with low commitment, low ticket, can I pick your brain? People who aren't ready for the real transformation that she offers. And this creates a really dangerous internal story, right? Because then you start saying to yourself, like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I should do something else. Why is this working for other people? Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. And that's complete, I want to say is complete BS, right? It's completely false. The biggest misconception really is that she needs multiple offers to meet people where they're at. She thinks, if I make something cheaper or shorter or easier, people will say yes. If I have more options, I'll look more professional, right? I know I said that, which is crazy. But the truth is options don't create clarity. They create confusion, right? And confusion is the fastest way to kill momentum in your brand and in your client making decisions. So I was thinking about this last night as I was finalizing these slides. If you go to a restaurant and they have a large menu, how long does it take you to choose? Right?
I hate that.
It takes forever. And if the menu is pages and pages long, do you feel like they're best in class at a particular menu item? No, right? Now think of a Michelin star restaurant. Their menu's smaller, right? Your only real choice is, do I get the chef's menu, which isn't even a choice, right? Or a la carte, which is most likely one page, maybe two, right? It takes you much less time to decide. And you're certainly not making your decision based on price, right? Do you see the difference? It's huge. And the consequences, if she doesn't solve this problem, if she keeps building from this scattered place, what I like to call the monkey brain, right? She stays stuck in the almost zone. She's almost ready, she's almost visible, she's almost booked out, and she spends months and sometimes years tweaking, pivoting, and second guessing instead of confidently scaling her business. And this doesn't just cost time, right? It costs positioning, it costs her power, and it costs money, it costs revenue, because no one buys premium rates for something they don't understand. Does that make sense? Okay, let's break it down. Multiple low ticket or piecemeal offers, they seem safer, but they actually require more marketing, more explaining, more objection handling, more admin, more mental bandwidth, more time, more chaos. Who would like to not have to deal with objection handling? Seriously. And what did they deliver, right? If we're moving into the delivery, okay, that's on the front end is all the chaos, and on the back end, you're delivering less clarity, less commitment, less client transformation, less profit, and less money, which is not the vibe, right? So let's be honest. Is it really safer to do all that, or is it just slower? One premium offer anchored in your lived transformation, like things you've actually done, creates instant traction. It positions you as a thought leader. It makes your message stronger. It filters in the right clients, and it filters out the wrong ones. And it allows your audience or your ideal avatar to say, oh, that's exactly what I need, right? If you are talking to the one person with one problem, and you can say it better, like you can describe what they're going through better than they can, then they automatically believe that you have the answer to that. Does that make sense? Because you're not offering them like an offer, you're offering them a solution, like a clear, direct path to a powerful outcome. Does that make sense? All right, start with one signature offer. Hopefully, if I can convince you of that. Build from the transformation that you know how to lead, like not from fear. This isn't fear based. It's not because someone else is doing it. It's not from all the noise in the market, but from the deepest shift you've already helped others make, or you've helped yourself make, right? Like maybe without even realizing it. You already know how to deliver results, right? You know how to deliver results. You've been doing it your entire career. And now it's time to really own that in your offer. All right, one clear premium offer. It creates clarity in your message. Like you know how to go to market if you're clear in your offer and your transformation and what you deliver. It builds confidence in your pricing because you feel confident because you know that you're going to get that transformation for your clients, right? So you feel confident pricing it accordingly. It delivers consistency in your client results and credibility in your brand presence. Like you know how to show up because you know who you are, you know what you're offering, you know that it delivers. And when you anchor your business in one premium solution, everything else becomes easier, right? It's easier to write your content when it has a focus. It's easier to convert calls when your clients or your potential clients reach out to you because they know exactly who you are. They know your story. They know what you deliver. Like they believe that you are the perfect person for them. And your brand energy shifts from like being all over the place and scattered to solid. Let's think of your business like a lighthouse. If the light spins, I mean, I'm hoping this lighthouse, the light's spinning. If the light spins in every direction, people can't see it clearly, right? But if the beam is concentrated, if it's sharp, it's direct, it's consistent, the right people will find you fast. Your offer is the beam, not the boat, not the foghorn, not the life jacket, the beam. And that's what we build first. Cool? Let me tell you about my client, Amy. When Amy, I love this story so much because it's just perfect, really. When she came to me, she just left corporate. She was brilliant. She had 25 years in B2B sales. She'd worked for really big name companies that you would know. She had negotiated 2 separate $1 million compensation packages for herself. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot of people. I know some people, but not a lot of people who have negotiated not 1, but 2 $1 million plus compensation packages, right? That's kind of a big deal. Who would like to have done that in their corporate career? But her brand and her offer, they didn't reflect any of that, right? She was offering vague executive coaching. It was generic. It felt soft. It was definitely underpriced, right? And the only thing we changed was we built one single premium offer based on the exact transformation that she had already lived, right? She's helping sales professionals, because she's in sales, negotiate 6- and 7-figure comp packages using the exact strategies that she actually used to do it twice herself. Her messaging got sharper, her pricing went up, her audience started listening because suddenly she wasn't offering coaching. Do you see what I mean? Like she was leading a high stakes shift. And that's like, that's a high stakes conversation. I don't know about you, but anytime I had to negotiate salary, which I actually loved doing, probably because I came from a recruiting background, I loved having salary negotiation conversations. But when it was me in the room, like talking about my salary, super stressful, right? So if she's helping somebody go from, I don't know, let's say you're at like a normal amount, like you're at a $300,000 salary and you're negotiating like a $500,000 salary. That's a lot, right? How much is that worth to somebody? At least 20K, which is exactly what her offer ended up being, right? When you are basing your offer from your lived experience, it's so much easier. Hopefully you got that. We're going to move into shift number 2 now. Shift number 2 is all about the price, right? And this one, It's so important and it's such a game changer, right? So this one is anchored in confidence. Okay, write this down. Actually, can someone help me in the chat by writing down the names of the shifts I'm going to review? So number one is build one premium offer. And number two is price the transformation, not the time. So the general idea behind this is that your pricing isn't just about numbers, right? Your pricing is a mirror of how you see your value. And for leaders like yourself who've led teams, managed million-dollar budgets, built entire departments in corporate, it's wild. It's wild to me how quickly, these leaders default to charging by the hour. So here's the shift. Your clients don't pay you for your time. I want you to really get this. They're paying you for the outcome that you help them create. When you price based on transformation and not the hours you spend getting them the transformation, literally everything shifts. Everything. So picture this. You've left a high-powered role in consulting or leadership or marketing, whatever. Insert whatever your background is. And now you're trying to package your knowledge into a business. And when it comes to pricing, you freeze, right? So you do what feels safe. $150 an hour coaching sessions, a 6-week package for $9.97, or even worse, custom quotes, right? Based on what you think people will pay, based on probably what all your friends tell you, who aren't your buyer, by the way. They're the worst people to listen to. Again, no shade. Actually, I didn't. I hired a coach when I first started. But, most of us listen to other people that aren't actually doing the thing that we're doing, right? And the cycle begins. Let me know in the chat if this seems familiar to you. Write a 1 if you found yourself thinking like this or doing this. Here's what happens when you start doing this. Clients nickel and dime you. Anyone? You over deliver and undercharge. Your revenue is inconsistent, up and down every single month. And your confidence takes a huge hit. Meanwhile, people with less experience are charging more and signing clients. Why? Because their pricing reflects leadership. And this shows up in your daily life like this. You spend 6 hours prepping for a 1-hour session. I was literally just talking to somebody about this yesterday. You get off a call feeling like you gave them your entire blueprint and they paid you like a fraction of what it's worth, like something that took you 20 years to gain all of this knowledge, and you gave it away at such a small price that it's embarrassing, right? Hesitate to raise your prices because you think, is this really worth that much? So you keep tweaking and discounting and explaining, oh my gosh, it feels like you're working so hard, but building so slow. You're exhausted, but underpaid. Honestly, you know too much to be charging so little. And clients are saying yes. It's not like clients are saying no, but they're saying yes only to smaller offers. And you're attracting people who see you as a helper, not a leader, which is kind of BS, right? Because it's not who you are. And like worse, you start shrinking and you edit your offer down to fit the price instead of elevating your price to match the offer. Let me say that again. You're editing your offer down to fit the price instead of elevating your price to match the offer. Literally the opposite of what you want to do, and the opposite of why you started a business in the first place, right? So here's the biggest mistake, is they're pricing like consultants. And I was a consultant for years and years, and this is the pricing formula. Anyone that, I feel like you're all going to relate to this. In consulting, pricing is often like the number of hours times the rate, like what do the resources cost? Then you add your margin on top, and then you get a project fee. Sound familiar? Anyone? Let me know in the chat if this is normal for you, right? And look, that works when you're building a corporation for an implementation or like a project implementation. That works in consulting, but it falls flat when you're building a personal brand that leads to actual transformation, right? Like you're not a vendor, you're not a task rabbit, you're a guide, you're leading someone to a life-changing result, right? And even if you're working with businesses, you're leading them to a result that is tied to money, right? Transformation does not have an hourly rate. And the market doesn't value time, it values results. So if you keep pricing this way, you're going to burn out. You attract clients who second guess everything, and you stay stuck in short-term revenue mode, and there's no room to scale, right? If there's no room to scale, you're going to continuously be overworked. And the worst part really is that you never actually feel like a CEO. You're still operating like an employee, delivering work for pay instead of standing in the power of what you create, right? Scope creep comes into play. Negotiations, everyone wants to negotiate. You're hustling for every dollar. Like, that's the mode that you're in. You can't build a premium brand from the posture of proving your worth every 60 minutes, right? Like, hourly pricing also trains your clients to think small, and that's not the goal, right? That's not the vibe. We want our clients to think in terms of possibility, like what's possible. So many things are possible when you're looking forward, right? But not when you're charging by the hour. Like, because when you're charging by the hour, these are the things people come back to you with. Can I just do one session? Can I skip the rest and just get the file? Like, I don't really need all the coaching. I can do it myself, right? They stop thinking about the outcome and they start calculating the cost, like what every little thing costs. And that's not leadership. That's not leadership. It's labor, right? You're not paid for your time. You're paid for transformation. And that means you're priced for the identity shift you lead, right? You're positioned as a strategic partner, not a service provider. You stop selling time, you start selling outcomes. It's a game changer. It's a game changer. This is why my clients confidently charge 5K, 10K, even 20K, like Amy, 20K or offers 20K. It merits 20K, right? And when you are speaking to a client who will pay, or like the avatar that will pay 20K, it's like the difference between the person who shops at Chanel and the person who, is looking for a sale at the Gap. Like, nothing wrong with looking for a sale at the Gap. I'm just saying that when you walk into Chanel, you know what you're getting, right? Be Chanel. All right. So instead of doing all of that, price your offer based on the cost of not solving the problem, right? Like, just ask yourself, what does it cost my client to stay stuck? What's the ROI of solving this? What's the emotional and financial payoff of this transformation? Like, not only how does it affect him or her, how does it affect their family? How does it affect the money in their bank account? Like, how does it affect them, right? And then anchor your pricing from that place, right? From that place, and make sure the offer matches the depth of that shift. Do you see how this is so much better, such a better way to price your offer? You work less, you earn more. Who doesn't want that, right? You attract higher caliber clients, you create deeper and more sustainable change, and you finally feel proud of what you charge, right? This isn't about pricing high just to look premium. It's about matching the investment to the true value of what you do. Because people will pay for transformation. They really will. If they're interested in transformation, right? Like, if they really want it, they will pay for it. Think of all of the things that you bought that were emotional decisions because you really like wanted whatever the promise was, right? Imagine hiring a surgeon. Do you care how many hours they spent in the operating room? Or do you care about the fact that they saved your life, right? Premium pricing is like that. The client's not paying you for your minutes or how long it took you to get here. They're paying for your mastery. And you are the difference between uncertainty and clarity, between, I don't know, just staying the same, being at a plateau, or having a breakthrough. You're the answer. Now, instead of telling you about Catherine, she's actually here today. So I'm going to have you hear directly from her. Since she's here, let me bring her on stage. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to ask Catherine to share her experience around pricing and
Oh
just
gosh.
what I talked about.
Well, everything that Lisa said, that was me. I have 37 years. I started two staffing companies and successfully exited both. But I was just like she said, no confidence. How am I going to sell me? Oh, well, let's see. Here's my hourly rate, which started very low. I thought in those terms. So by the time I got to Lisa, I was definitely a project, and I probably still am to her, but she, I've worked with her through a couple of things. And what you said, Lisa, about invisible brilliance, I will tell you all that that was probably the most difficult for me to understand that I had 37 years of experience leading teams. I started companies. And I worked with multi-million dollar budgets. I did all of that stuff, but I did not see my brilliance. So that's really, Lisa, the first thing that you got me to see. And I
Yeah.
think that's really smart to start there. Start with in here and see, okay, what am I really doing here? Well, once she got me beyond that, I did every mistake that you just mentioned, Lisa. I was working, I spent 10 hours once on a proposal for, and of course I didn't get it. It was so customized, it was ridiculous, it was underpriced, and I'm giving away the farm because I think, well, I have to show a lot of value. But when I made that mind shift, which I have, I am like right now, I'm like never doing that again. I know I'm worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if I can think that, you can too. And sometimes it takes a reminder, and which is why you're here. This is why I still talk to Lisa. Sometimes I just need to talk to her, say, remind me again why you thought I was so brilliant, because I'm not seeing it today. But
Aw,
if you can do that mind shift, everything else that Lisa's going to tell us now, and I'm here, this is my third time maybe sitting through a similar presentation because I need to hear it again and again, and because it's so good. Get that mind shift, and then all this other stuff falls into place. So
yeah.
imposter syndrome, who doesn't, everyone has it. And I think women, a lot of times, I mean, I realize now looking back, I had it even when I was leading a company. It was a man's world. I was in staffing too, like Lisa was, and
Yeah.
kind of a man's world. And, but all of that kind of ate at my confidence. So I'd like to point out too, for anybody here, everybody looks 20 years younger than me, but I started this transformation. I sold my other company, stayed on for a while, then left, started my transformation when I was 67, and I'm 69 now. So, and if again, if I can do it at this age, and all you young, beautiful women, you can do it too. It's because it's really not about the age. It's like you said, Lisa, it's about our invisible brilliance. But
Yeah.
now I'm not invisible anymore. So I have the confidence now to say on LinkedIn, which is my primary marketing tool, to say that, hey, look what I did. I put one on a post today. It said I was on a podcast. It seems braggy inside. I'm going, who cares? But but I was on a podcast, and it was good stuff that I said. So all of those things, you can do it. You
Yeah.
just have to get out of your own head
Yeah.
and call Lisa, or call me if you need, if you ever need a little boost. Just say, Catherine, give me a Lisaism or whatever, because I will, because I totally believe in it. So I
I
hope
love it.
that is that.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. You're
You're welcome.
amazing. You're amazing. How Catherine and I first got together is I had her on one of my LinkedIn lives. I was interviewing her because she's freaking genius at what she does, and I was interviewing women who had left corporate and started their own coaching and consulting business. And then we started chatting after, and she said, "What did you say to me? You said something about being new."
Yeah, I said, well, I'm a new coach. Oh man, you should have heard her. She said, you are not a new coach. You are a newly certified coach, because I am certified. And she's right. I've been coaching for 37 years.
Yeah,
But she ripped me a new one with that. And I thought, I've never said that again.
with
In a
love,
good
with
way. Yeah,
love.
with tons of love. With tons of
With
love.
love. I was like, respectfully, you have 37 years of experience.
Exactly.
You're not new, right? And we tend to do that. Okay, I'm gonna thank you, Kath. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. You're amazing. I love you. Okay, I'm gonna get back. Gonna get back to it. Because we're on shift three, so halfway through. Okay, so shift three is what I call the simplicity launch plan. Is anchored in the pillar momentum. Want to launch without tech tech spiral or tech burnout. And the general idea behind this shift is that, okay, honestly, guys, I have a lot of fancy tech things because I've been in business for 6 years now, but you don't need any of that. Like, you don't need a massive funnel. You don't need complicated automations or a 6-week content calendar to launch your first premium offer. What you need is a simple, clear path, one that gets you in front of the right people with the right message. The goal is not perfection, it's traction. Okay? It's traction because traction doesn't come from tools. It comes from clarity, it comes from consistency, and it comes from confidence. The 3 C's, right? You don't need more stuff, you need more conversations. Because if you're not making offers, you're not making money, right? Let me say that again. If you're not making offers, you're not making money. I was just talking to someone about this yesterday. She was telling me how she needed more systems. Cool. I love systems. Systems are sexy, right? And so I said to her, like, what are your goals? And she said, well, to make more money. And I said, cool. I love money, right? How many conversations have you had this month with people who are your ideal client? And how many offers have you made? Because if your goal is to make more money, you have to make more offers. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if you're not talking to people and you're not offering people anything, then guess what? You don't even have any data, right? To understand why you're not making, well, you're not making money because you're not like putting yourself out there making an offer. So let's talk about how this shows up and tell me if this resonates. Because here's what I see all the time. You decide to launch your offer, yay, and then you instantly get pulled into tech spiral. You start thinking things like, oh, do I need Kajabi? Should I use Go High Level? How do I automate my email funnel? Should I build a full brand before I go live? And then before you know it, weeks go by, you're still stuck editing copy, like testing your pages, re-recording your videos. You've built half a funnel, but you haven't made a single offer. And you're exhausted before you've even launched. And if you're talking to people, it's market research, right? You're asking questions, collecting insights, but you're not inviting anyone to work with you. And you can't make money if you're not selling anything, right? No offers equals no clients, and no clients equals no money or no business, right? I mean, this shows up looking like this. You wake up overwhelmed with your to-do list, right? Fix, broken link, rewrite welcome email, figure out a welcome email sequence, figure out a booking system, and you avoid promoting your offer because it's not ready yet, right? You end up doing things like scrolling LinkedIn. You see other people launching while you're still prepping. And it's like, frankly, you feel like crap, right? You feel behind. And in the rare moments when you do talk to people, you frame it as feedback. Let me get some feedback. Let me pick your brain, right? It's not an invitation, which means that no one knows you're actually available to hire, right? Constantly working on your business, but not in your business. You're always planning. You're never promoting. You have lots of content, but you have no calls. You have lots of insight. You have lots to say, but no income. And every single month that you wait to launch, you lose momentum. You're posting, refining, and researching, but not inviting. That is not a launch, my friends. That is a loop. And the biggest mistake that people are believing right now, like in these situations, is that you need to have everything automated before you can launch. Like, my back end needs to be perfect before I go public. And I get it, because in corporate, you got rewarded for perfection. You got rewarded for it, right? But trying to launch like an online marketer instead of a premium service provider is a big miss, right? They think the funnel is going to do the selling, when in truth, the first 5 clients, 10 clients are going to come from having real conversations and inviting people to work with you, because high caliber clients don't care about your platform. They don't care if you have Kajabi or Go High Level, right? They don't care what your back end is. They care about your presence, right? They want to talk to a real human who actually gets them. And the consequences are you stay stuck in prep mode, right? For months and months, maybe even years. People build funnels that no one sees. They start to believe that they're not ready when really they're just overbuilding, right? and they burn out their energy before they even get feedback from the market. Worst of all, they delay the very thing that will give them clarity, which is talking to people and making offers, right? Look, trying to launch like a Fortune 500 company or an internet influencer doesn't work when you're building a boutique high touch service, right? You don't need 50 steps. You need 3 steps. Okay, write these down. You need a clear offer. You need a direct invitation, and you need a simple way to book a conversation or to connect with people. That's it. You can't test an offer without actually making one, right? And you can't get clients without talking to them. I mean, okay, you can, but not a high ticket offer. And if you're not putting your offer in front of people, right? Like if you're not even sending DMs or having calls or conversations, you're just pretending, right? Respectfully, because you can't make money if you're not making offers. Simplicity is a strategy, right? When you simplify your launch, you get to revenue faster. You know, who doesn't want that, right? You test your message sooner, see what lands because you're talking more people, you're making offers, right? That getting into action like that is what really helps you grow your confidence. It helps you get clear on what you offer, what the market wants, and what pricing works. I mean, it's not about doing less, it's about doing what actually moves the needle, right? That means having real conversations, making real offers, and learning what actually works. I mean, I remember early on my journey, I had a coach who said to me, she said, bring the data, not the drama. And I was like, okay, right? Like, how many conversations have you had? How many offers have you made? What's your conversion rate? You can't collect data if you don't have any, right? And I mean, I was so caught up in the drama, and when she forced me to like really just think of it like a scientist. Okay, so you make one sale, right? You make an offer, somebody says yes, they pay you. Perfect. How many offers did you have to make to get to that? And then how many conversations did you have to have? And then out of all the conversations you had, how many offers did you make, right? Like you want to just put on your little scientist white jacket and start collecting data. And then it kind of gets you out of your head a little bit too, right? When you start thinking like that. So really what you should do instead of all this, like the simple plan that works is launch with a clean back end and a clear positioning. You need, like I said, one signature offer, one booking link, one page that speaks to the transformation, one aligned message, repeated consistently, right? Like you'll notice throughout this whole training, I keep repeating myself, but I'm saying the same thing over and over again. One invitation at a time. Repeat until your calendar's full, right? You don't need to scale before you sell. You need to simplify before you start. Do you see how this is better? Because you actually get to launch. You get real feedback. You sign real clients, right? You get out of your head and into the market. You learn from real conversations, not just theories. And most importantly, you build real belief in yourself because instead of hiding behind strategy and, having all these hypotheses in your head, you know what's really going on. You're leading with service, right? And then you build as you go instead of waiting until everything's perfect. Think of it like hosting a dinner party, which is one of my favorite things to do. You don't need a commercial kitchen or a catering team to, invite a few close friends over. You don't need everything to be perfect. You need a few things. You need a menu, you need a clean space, you need a confident invitation, right? That's how your first launch should feel too. It should feel warm, it should feel intentional, it should feel designed for connection. A woman I recently worked with, Teresa, she came in, oh my gosh, she came in thinking she needed a full brand, like a full funnel, a full automation before she could go live, right? Before she could launch her business. But all she really needed was a clear offer and a simple launch strategy. And once we had that, and she had a few target clients, people she would love to work with, she had conversations with them and she offered them her service. And within 30 days, she finalized her offer. She promoted it to a very specific few people. She talked to those real people. She made them real offers and she got 2 high caliber clients, like her ideal clients. She stopped waiting for everything to be perfect, right? And just showed up in her power and made offers because clients don't come from funnels. They come from conversations, right? And that's what simplicity looks like. All right, shift number 4. This is the final shift. And this is the identity upgrade that changes everything. It's anchored in the pillar power. It is really just step into your CEO caliber identity. And the general idea behind this, look, we've been talking about this since the top of the hour. You can have the best offer, the best pricing, the best strategy, but if your identity doesn't match the level of business you say you want, none of it will stick. None of it. And trust me, I tried, I did all the strategy until I really believed it, right? And went to market with the things that we've just talked about. You have to believe it, right? The shift is about becoming the version of yourself who leads their business with the same confidence you led in your corporate career. Because here's the truth. I know I led with strategy here. That's because everyone comes for strategy. But strategy follows identity. Let me say that again. Strategy follows identity. So here's a common scenario. You built an impressive career, people respect you, you've been the go-to person inside of companies for years and years, right? But online, you feel invisible. You're worried about what people will think, you overthink every post, you lurk, you're a lurky-loo, you lurk more than you lead, and you water down your message because you want to be palatable, you don't want to sound too much or too aggressive, or, what will my brother think? I don't know. What will my old boss think? And you know that what you do is valuable, but you don't know how to own it publicly. You're leading in private, but you're playing safe in public until you actually see yourself as the CEO caliber leader who's visible, who's powerful, who's premium, who knows that she knows her shit and knows how to get results for your clients. You're going to default to that behavior that's been keeping you small, and you're going to keep playing small. Does that make sense? And this is what it looks like in day-to-day life. Second guess your expertise, tweak your bio 10 times instead of sharing your actual story, right? You look at your website and think, is this really me? You wait for the brand or the clarity or the approval before you just take up space, just take up space and claim that space. Because it's not just about your content, it's about your identity and who you are, right? You're still thinking like an employee, not a business owner. And it's a problem because you have all the credentials, but you're not converting, right? People say you're amazing. Everybody tells you how amazing you are, but they don't hire you. What the heck, right? You're getting engagement. Oh, this post so resonates. And some clients, you're getting some clients, but you're not getting clients at the level that you're capable of serving. You're doing visibility, but not from a place of true presence and power. And your audience isn't seeing the version of you that actually gets results. And the biggest mistake people are making, they think, oh, I just need more confidence, or I need to grow my audience first, or I need better content. I never know what to post, or I need to build my email list. Those are just symptoms. They're just symptoms, right? The root cause, they haven't shifted their identity. They're still approaching their business like an extension of their resume. Your business is not you, right? Your business is a reflection of your mission, right? They're waiting to be chosen instead of choosing for themselves, right? Nobody's going to come and tell you you're doing a great job. You have to build that confidence in yourself. And I know it's so hard, it can be so challenging, but that's the work, right? The consequence of not solving this is you stay stuck in the middle, not quite visible, not quite hidden, not quite launching, not quite scaling, dilute your message, you attract low investment clients, and honestly, you just lose your momentum, right? Because you don't trust yourself to lead at this level. And eventually, you wonder if you're really cut out for this. But it's not your offer that's off, it's the way you're showing up. Does that make sense? Your business will only grow to the level of your self-confidence, your self-concept. When you shift into your CEO caliber identity, you lead with clarity, you market with conviction, you show up powerfully, even when it's imperfect. I can't even tell you how many calls I've been on where the tech doesn't work, or you just show up where you are, the best version of you, even if it's imperfect. And look, people appreciate that because this isn't about fake confidence. It's about being like embodied clarity, just knowing who you are, what you stand for, that you show up every day, you do the best you can, you lead with service, and you start behaving like the leader your business needs. And the market responds accordingly. The market loves confidence. All right. So what you should be doing instead is just stop waiting. Stop waiting to be picked. Choose yourself. Stop trying to sound right or sound perfect. Start saying what's true. Like, what's your truth? What do you know to be true? What's true for you? Stop hiding behind rules and start leading with your results. You don't need to earn the right to be seen, okay? You've already done that. You've already earned the right. Show up in your power. You just need to step into it. Once you do that, you stand out without shouting. I know it seems like I'm shouting now, but I'm very passionate. You attract clients who are ready, who are not hesitant, and you feel aligned. You feel powerful in your message because you believe it, right? You believe it. You finally stop looking outside for validation because you're grounded in who you are. You're grounded in what you bring to the table. This is mindset fluff. It's identity work, and it's the foundation of everything. Think of, I made up this little diagram. Think of your identity like the thermostat of your business, right? You can try to crank up the strategy. You can run ads, you can post daily, you can build a funnel. But if your internal setting is stuck on lukewarm, then everything cools down to match. But raising your identity is what sets the room to premium, like, increasing your thermostat. Remember Catherine's story about how she reset and raised her identity to reflect the genius, the badass that she really is, right? Okay, let's recap because I'm very aware of time. At the core of everything we've covered today, the offer, the pricing, the launch, the identity, it all comes down to building your CEO caliber offer suite and stepping fully into your strategic brilliance. It's about owning the full depth of your career experience and translating that into a premium, purpose-driven business that actually moves and delivers results. Not just for the sake of building a business, but because you know that you're here to lead at a higher level. This isn't just about tactics. It's a deep, deep process, okay? Because while yes, we've talked about offer clarity and pricing strategy and visibility, at the heart of it, it's really about you becoming the version of yourself who's ready to be seen, who's ready to be hired, and who's ready to be paid at the level that you've earned. It's about shifting from planning mode to premium positioning, guessing your worth to owning your value, like fully owning it and embodying it, and lurking behind content to leading with clarity. You are not building just another coaching business. You're building your category of one. You are one of one. Nobody can replicate you, right? You're building a brand that reflects your leadership. Your leadership is different than my leadership, right? One where your message is clear, your presence, your pricing, and your delivery, it's all aligned. And are you still with me? Who's ready for that? Who's ready for that? Drop a Y in the chat if you're ready for that. Listen, if anything that you've heard today has you nodding, if you know that you write to lead differently, I'd love to support you. Here's where we can start. Okay. Also, this is a no, I have nothing to sell you. Okay. But here's what I want to offer you next is a 15-minute authority offer audit. It's not a sales call. It's not a sales call in disguise. It's a high impact, a 15-minute audit, and it's designed specifically to help you make powerful decisions about your next move. And on the call, so it's 15 minutes, we're going to get clear on 3 things. Your premium authority offer, like what are you actually selling and how to position it to stand out in your space. The second thing we'll review is your pricing strategy. Whether you're new or pivoting, we'll identify a price that aligns with your value and supports your business goals. And then the real block, like the third thing is if there's a block or something going on, we'll just really uncover the invisible reason you haven't launched yet. It's almost never what you think and what's your next best move. So write in the chat which of these 3 things would support you the most. This isn't for everybody, obviously, but if you're ready to turn your career credibility into a client-ready offer, if you're decisive and coachable and not just consuming info, if you're ready to launch and not keep looping in planning mode, then this is for you. But it's not for you if you're still deciding whether or not you want to start a business, I work with people who've already decided that. Or if you're looking for, these cookie cutter tactics or another sales script, that's not who this is for. It's for experienced leaders who are ready to step up and be seen. And if you would like to take advantage of this, it's a totally free call. It's only 15. It's not a lot of time. Go to this link and book your call now. It's go.lisamcphee.com/call. I'm going to actually put it in the chat. Okay, I'll put it in the chat in a minute. Now, when you go to that page, this is what's going to happen. You're going to see my calendar, choose any open time that works for you, and then you'll get an email and you'll be able to add it to your calendar. Input your name and email address, and then you'll receive a calendar invite and an intake form letting me know a bit about you and your business, and your online presence. So like what's your website, your social media, that sort of thing. We'll hop on a call and I will be laser focused on helping you with these three things: your offer, your pricing, and your next best step. Again, not a sales call. If you want to talk about working together, we can set up a separate call. That's not what this call is about. This call is really about your offer, your price, and your positioning. I promise it will be the best 15 minutes you've spent